To the Chamber of Commerce Economic Development Committee meeting. Today, we're going to have Rogue give us an update on Evergreen Village. Then we'll juggle the order a little bit, and the school district will go next. Then Tony from Medias Corporation will make a presentation, and then we'll have an update from the city and also an update from the Planning Commission. With that said, let's do a virtual round the table introduction. My name is Rick Kent. I'm the CFO at Paramount Corporation and the chairman of the Economic Development Committee. Mario?
Hi, I'm Mario Banuelos. I'm a Rotarian on the board of directors here in Morgan Hill.
Larry?
Larry Carr, chamber board member.
Steve? Steve, you're muted still. Steve, you were muted.
Steve Tate. I'm kind of a retired guy.
Tony? You're muted also.
My name is Tony Zaya. I'm a new business owner here in Morgan Hill. And excited to tell you guys a lot more about what I'm doing here.
Alex?
Hi there, I'm Alex Kennett. I'm a local realtor, mostly in commercial, and I'm on the board of directors of the Open Space Authority.
Joe?
Joe Muller, resident and a member of the Morgan Hill Planning Commission.
Marby?
I am Marby Lee. I am a local realtor here with Remax Realty Partners.
And John McKay.
Good morning. Hi, John McKay, Mayor Pro Tem of City of Morgan Hill and a longtime interested member of the EDC.
And Rogue.
Rog Collins with Evergreen Development. We are the owners of Evergreen Village at the southeast corner of Butterfield and Cochrane.
Great, and with that, let's go ahead and get into the first presentation. Rog?
Okay, thank you. And I see a lot of familiar faces. It's nice to see everybody here. I think I can grab the screen, right?
Yes, I gave you sharing permission, Rob.
Okay, so this is, I think most of you are familiar with Evergreen Village is located down here at Butterfield and Cochrane. We acquired the property back in December of 18. And when we, let me just try to blow this up, make sure it's up. And when we acquired it, I think it was, the idea was to do a mixed use project that, let me get to this thing here. This is fairly close to the original site plan. Some things have changed, and I'll kind of talk through everybody as to what's going on here. But this was a mixed use project that incorporated a hotel at the eastern site here. If everybody can see my cursor, a gas station, 4 pad buildings out here, a supermarket, senior assisted living back here, medical office. Originally, we had a tire store that was in the area that is shown now as daycare. And unfortunately, the tire store was a casualty of COVID, and they ended up killing a bunch of their deals. So that deal has kind of gone away. Right now on the project, I'm going to put another slide up here. This will kind of show you right now what we have committed. In the back, there's the senior assisted living. It's a group called Artis. They closed escrow with us just before COVID. At this point in time, they have not yet submitted for a building permit, and we're not sure exactly when they will be proceeding to construct. Things in that business, I think, are a little bit uncertain. Then we closed escrow with 7-Eleven, and I think if you've been out to the site, you've seen that it's, you know, under construction, and they may even be open for all I know. But that's the one kind of business right now that's blown and going, so to speak, or close to opening. The hotel has been in design review with the city. The hotel is going to be a Holiday Inn Express. We're pretty close, I think, to getting their approvals. Well, excuse me, they have their design review approvals. They've submitted for building permit. They're trying to get their building permit, and I'm hopeful that within the next 30 to 45 days that we can hopefully get that for them. Moving to the west, Pad B is slated to be Starbucks. They are hopefully going to be submitting for design review in the next 30 days or so. And then moving further west is Taco Bell. They actually purchased that pad from us. I do not believe they have been in yet for design review with the city. Then everything that we show in blue right now is still, for the most part, unspoken for. We've had interest in the shops, but we haven't really wanted to commit the shops until we know what is going to happen in the balance of the property. And it's been interesting because originally we thought we would have interest from a supermarket. We had received interest from Aldi, but that was a little premature. They weren't ready to move into Northern California just yet, and they still aren't. We had taken a run at Sprouts with the city's help. Edith Ramirez in the city put together a really nice report, but we weren't able to get Sprouts to the table. Recently, we'd had some interest from Grocery Outlet, and we kind of mulled over the potential of doing that. That, I guess, is still a potential. We have had more interest from other senior assisted living operators to kind of go in the rear of the property. We actually also had 3 different medical office users that were in the market looking for anywhere from 7 to 10 acres. And unfortunately, I think with COVID, that put those plans on ice for all 3 of those operators. So we've kind of pursued a lot of different avenues, but at this point, we're not really sure what's going to happen, particularly with this southwest corner of the project. I think we could certainly go forward and do the shops and the plaza, which I know was very important to the city. And our plans are to, most likely go forward and do that. But again, we're trying to solve for this area back here before we do anything else. We've also had interest, I think I said, with more senior assisted living. There's been some adult living communities, senior living communities that have been interested. We've had apartment users, apartment developers approach us here. We have one apartment user that's talked about doing a mixed use type project with apartments over retail. So there's just a lot of different things that we're trying to evaluate, and combining that with what the existing PD allows for, trying to determine, if we were to go or try to go with something that was, let's say, a mixed use residential, it would require reopening the PD and doing that. So that could be a longer route to getting something done here. So it's kind of just an overview of where we're at on this project. I'm happy to answer any questions that anybody has. And I guess I'll leave it at that.
Okay, so for questions, anybody have some questions? John.
I'm sorry, am I on?
John.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the report. I think a lot of us are wondering what's going on there. So I like that a little bit more background on what's going on. One of the things that I've been working on within the community and the local wineries is trying to create a vineyard-based motif for landscaping. Now, I'm reasonably sure you probably submitted a landscaping plan with this design. Is it possible to switch over to a little bit more of a vineyard look with your landscaping? And who is there that I could talk to about that?
Zach Lauterbach is a gentleman at Evergreen that's been interfacing with the city and all of our entitlements and construction. You know, I don't know what the answer to that. You know, I think it would depend a little bit on who the users are and where we stand with the landscaping. You know, I'm sure we could look at it, but it might be too far, or we might be too far along. But it's, you know, Zach is the one who's been in discussions with Jennifer. We have a weekly meeting with Jennifer on Tuesdays. And so I think Zach would be the one we could talk to with in conjunction with Jennifer.
Okay, thank you very much. We actually have the local winemaking community that have volunteered their expertise in helping make sure these little demonstration vineyards do well. So thank you very much. I'll approach Zach.
And John, I'm happy to have him call you if that would make sense, or I could send you his contact info.
That would be wonderful. Yeah, I would like to, one way or another, I'd like to open a dialogue. So thank you very much.
Okay.
Okay, Marby?
Hi, good morning. Thank you, Rod. I really appreciate the presentation. My question would be for some of the known entities. I know you said 7-Eleven may be open already. Do we have dates yet for any of the other openings? Because I know people are curious about, again, as you said, what's going on there, but just also, you know, what the time frame is for some of this opening up.
Yeah, no, it's been a real challenge for, let's say, the hotel to get through design review. I think that that's taken a lot longer than we would have liked. And so it's hard to say. I mean, right now we're hoping that they're, let's say, 45 days away from a building permit. I'd have to check with them as far as their construction schedule. The hotel industry is another one that is really taking it in the shorts over COVID. And so, I mean, they're the likely one to be open the quickest, just because they're at the building permit stage. But the senior assisted living and the Taco Bell and Starbucks has not even started the design review process. And unfortunately, you know, I'm going to guess the design review process alone took about 9 months with the hotel, which, you know, should have been a 3 to 4 month process. And,
Right.
you know, unfortunately, the hotel operator, I don't think they were, well, I know they didn't loop us in as much as they were supposed to, and I think we could have helped expedite that. And I don't know that they were as aggressive on that as they could have been. But, you know, I know they'd really like to get open, as would all these people. So to the extent that the city can help in expediting the design review for all these tenants would be great.
Got it. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Okay, Larry.
Thanks, Rick. Rod, thanks for being with us. Nice to see you again. It's
Nice to see you, Larry.
it's good to see this project and hear where things are. A couple of questions that I have. First, piggyback on Marvy's question with the hotel in particular. How can the chamber help? Can the chamber help? That is a critical part of this entire development and a critical part of the city's economic development. And, you know, quite honestly, I think it will improve where it says not a part. Having a hotel there is going to pop that restaurant pad open overnight. So are there things that the chamber can do to help with that process, to help with what's going on there?
You know, I don't think so. I spoke to Jennifer Carmen recently, and I know that with Terry Linder resigning, that things are a little backed up there, and Jennifer has promised to kind of step in and try to finalize this thing or finish it with building and with the operator. So I think we're okay there. But you know, right now a little, you know, part of it too is where we're coming out of COVID. and I don't know what the situation is with artists for their senior assisted living. I don't have an update right now on Taco Bell. I do know where Starbucks stands because we have pretty regular calls with them. You know, I think that the chamber, I guess the big thing is to just let the city know that you'd like to see these businesses open, and as quick as they can get through the design review process with Starbucks will help. We've had some preliminary discussions with the city, with Starbucks, to kind of narrow down and help their submittal. So I think we have gotten some feedback preliminarily that'll hope to streamline that submittal.
Yeah, good.
But no, I appreciate that ask though, Larry, but I don't have an answer for you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I think as as the state opens up next week, as things start coming, I think, the hotel industry, all of hospitality, from our vantage point, is going to come rebounding very quickly. And if Morgan Hill is not ready for that, we'll be left behind. And we will miss another wave of hotel development, as we have missed the last wave of hotel development, strictly. And the last one we missed because of opposition in town. But a couple of other questions, if I might. Is the PD limits the amount of drive-throughs, if I'm remembering correctly. Is it 2 that you're allowed?
I believe it was, as I said, I think it was 3. There was a drive-through for the car wash back here that was considered a drive-through,
Okay,
as well as the 2 pads.
gotcha. Okay.
And that's one thing, as you mentioned that. What's tough right now in the retail business is everybody's consolidating. A lot of the big guys are consolidating. Who's really expanding right now are the food users, and they all want drive-throughs. It's been critical to them staying open and surviving during COVID. And a lot of the new prototypes that are coming out now include drive-throughs like Chipotle. They do the Chipotle lanes.
Yeah.
And so that did not used to be part of their concept, and now it is. Same thing with Shake Shack. Shake Shack now is going with drive-throughs. And so, at this point, we don't have another, user that is asking for a drive-through, but candidly, we really haven't pursued that just yet. Again, our main focus has been trying to solve for this southwest quadrant of the project.
Yeah. And I remember preliminary discussions with you about that was going to be the hardest part of this project. I would be really concerned about opening the PD, quite honestly, unless there was a real defined plan about what that meant. Just with the way that state housing rules are going, what the state is doing, if you even crack that door on the PD, someone's going to figure out a way to just make that a massive housing site. And where, that might be a great ROI for you guys. 20 years on the council, we protected this property from housing. Steve will remember every year someone came in with a proposal to put houses, apartments, something on this site. And we said that site's too critical to the whole Cochrane Road, to economic development, to jobs in Morgan Hill. I would be, and maybe I'm saying this more for John McKay's ears than anyone else, I would be real hesitant towards opening that PD up unless there was a super tightly defined plan of what it was going to be there, just because of the risk to it. And I get what's going on with retail development right now and how hard it is. But, from a community perspective, I think that would be really tough.
Yeah, we've talked really closely with Jennifer Carmen about this, and, she's talked to us about the risk of opening up the PD as well. We're aware of what's the state's requiring in the way of housing. And so I think things sound like they've changed a little bit, but I think we're well aware that if this was pure housing, that, you guys at the city have shot that down in the past. And it's something that, candidly, we've looked at, like I say, a mixed use type scenario that would provide retail below residential as a possibility. But, you know, I'm aware of what happened with Lewis Homes. I think that was, I don't know, 8 years ago, something like that. And yeah, we're aware of that. But at the end of the day, we're just trying to figure out, you know, what can we put here?
Yeah.
And the city, I think, would agree. We'd like to see something here rather than nothing. And, you know, we've really tried from a retail perspective. Clearly, it's not going to be absorbed by 100% retail. We've really tried from a medical office. Like I say, we had 3 different users, and one in particular, one of the big guys that was looking at this thing really seriously before COVID. And, you know, their priorities have shifted through COVID. And it's not to say that they may not come back, but, you know, how long are you going to wait?
Yeah, exactly. And I guess, you know, finally, I would just suggest to Rick and Brittany that, you know, maybe we do put together some kind of communication to the city that, you know, we have met with Evergreen, and we would just urge the city to move as expeditiously as possible on any design and review of this site. That as the state starts opening up, this site in particular needs to be ready so that we don't miss any opportunities that come along, and particularly if we can be helpful on, you know, getting that hotel going and getting that senior assisted living, both of which are critical to both this site and to Morgan Hill. I think we ought to voice that to both staff and council.
That would be great and very much appreciated. And I do think that if we could get the 4 pads up on the street open, it clearly shows activity and will hopefully breed other interest.
Yeah, great. Rob, thanks for being here. Good to see you again.
Larry, thank you.
Thanks, Larry, and agree 100%. And Brittany, we should draft that communication. Mario, you have your hand up.
Yes, thanks, Rod, for the update on the project. I have a quick question. The senior living facilities, what's the capacity of the facilities in terms of?
On this particular one, I'm going off of memory. This is a 100% memory care facility. And so I want to say that they had about 78 beds. So it's not a, you know, real dense assisted living. There are a lot of other facilities that take care of, you know, a lot more than just the memory care, but this was a 100% memory care facility. And that's why I know that other senior assisted living facilities had been interested in the property, and they were willing to not do memory care. They would do everything else. And so that's been a discussion with planning is, you know, what do you think of doing more assisted living there? And I know that initially that was, I guess, not really looked upon highly, just from the standpoint that I think that the impression was that the community wanted to see some uses that would activate the site. And, you know, Jennifer has been pretty clear, and I can't disagree that, you know, a normal assisted living is not necessarily going to activate the site. I think if you did senior independent living combined with assisted living, you could argue that that would definitely activate the site, but that is currently not approved, I don't think, under the PD right now. And to Larry's perspective, it would, or point, you would have to reopen that.
All right, thanks.
Okay, I think we have another attendee, Brian Sullivan.
Thank you, Rick. Yeah, I just have a comment and perhaps a question. You mentioned that the Starbucks is coming in, and I live, as Rick knows and a bunch of other people know, right around the corner. And within a mile, there's going to be 3 Starbucks and a Pete's, which is great. But I'm just wondering the the density of having another Starbucks. There's going to be 3 right off of Cochrane.
Yeah, that is something that we see all over the place. Starbucks, you know, sometimes I've seen them go right across the street from each other. You know, I can't speak necessarily to their model, but I do know that they want to be on both sides of the street when they can, and as convenient as possible to their customer. You know, it's crazy how they're all over the place in almost every city. And, you know, but I asked them the same question when they approached us, is you're right down the street. And they said, well, it's a different traffic pattern that is servicing. I think they're looking to get the going to work side of people coming up Butterfield, cutting over Cochrane to the freeway and going into San Jose. And I think that the other unit that they have down the street on Monterey probably services people coming down south on Monterey, going south, either into downtown or wherever else they may be going.
Yeah, the one on Monterey actually gets people 4:30 in the morning. They start having people come in. So yeah, they're busy. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a bit, their model. I mean, I'd love to own a part of Starbucks. I mean, the other new tenant that's coming all over the place is Dutch Bros, and they're more of just a drive-through only concept with no cafe. The nice thing about this Starbucks is it will have a nice cafe component where people can go and sit down inside. The Dutch Bros, their stacking lanes are anywhere from 16 to even more stalls, and they're jammed all day long. So the addiction of people to coffee is real.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? I don't see any. Rog, thank you very much for the presentation. Very interested in the project, and as Larry suggested, I think we'll work with Brittany to get the communication out to the city.
Well, I appreciate that, and thank you guys for letting me speak on behalf of the project. I do need to run because my son has a graduation this morning. So thank you for putting me first. And John, I will talk with Zach and circle back and make sure that someone is in touch with you about the winery theme.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks,
I'm going to
Russ.
be, let me stop sharing here, and then I'm going to be leaving. So thank you, everybody.